Okay, so you may have watched this video if you were using CodeSpace, but I actually wanted to give you a specific video for the CodeSpace. And from here on out, unless otherwise advertised or otherwise noted, everything that you're doing and that you see me do on the course should be able to be done from CodeSpace. And if it isn't, I will have noted that. But I think this particular one might deserve just a little more. Okay, but you still need to do all the work I've laid out. That's why watching this first one isn't necessarily a bad thing, I guess. That's a funny way to say it, but okay. So here's my public repo that I set up. And here's my code space that is running. Now what I did here is I ended up making this a different color so I could remember, like, okay, my public is kind of blue, not blue, I think it's actually called, what is it called? Does not matter, okay? Oh, tomorrow night blue. Okay, I like that. I do have my code space set up, so I'm going to go ahead and just walk through this idea of how to set up the folder. So I'm going to click on the pub, I'm going to click on the folder icon, I'm going to do ww1. I might make this a little bigger just so you can see, because this is something that, again, watching the other video is probably helpful because I think I walk you through it in more detail. But under here, we'd create this index file, so index.html. Okay, so now we have a folder and we have a file. And so again, file here, folder here. And oftentimes for every assignment, especially if it's depending on which assignment it is, you'll probably be creating new folders and files. All right, so now I'm going to pull this down a little bit because in this index file, I'm going to do explanation, and that does the automatic init, I think, setting up that base HTML, which is great, right? And so here I'm also going to go ahead, and again, the other video does this in more detail, but I ended up calling this, I believe, main.js, okay? And then here, console.log, hello world, okay? And then I showed the step for, because now I have both of these files, I have them in that W1 folder, and we haven't version controlled them. We'll do that in a minute. Come back over here, and you'll learn more about what this means and other ways to actually make this work correctly later. We'll do src script equal, and if I start typing main, cool. So now we can see we have, at least from the demo I gave before, all the relevant pieces we need to actually have our index, our HTML, our web page, and our main.js, our JavaScript file, and then we have the script tag then to connect the two. So what we want to do is actually see this in a web page, okay? Because what you're looking at here is the editor, right? And for us, it's in the code space. So I would go down, so we're in Explorer, I'd go all the way down here to extensions, and in extensions, I would search for, now notice how there's recommended, but I'm just going to search here. I'm going to say live server. And this is the same one that was listed on the first video, okay? But it's going to work just a little different, and that's why I want to show you this in this video. So I'll go ahead and install here. So now what I'm doing is installing that extension into my code space, and then it shows that, yep, we got it good. Activation time improved. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, they must have had that on their last update. Okay, so I'll do this, and then I'm going to come back to my Explorer, right? And in here, I'm just going to put, just so I can see it, week 1. And then over here, I may not have done this in the video. I honestly don't remember. This was last year when I did that one. But it's and again, I probably have talked, and I will talk more about these as we move forward. So at this point, I could go ahead and do my version control, or I could look at it. So let's just do git add star. I bet there's a specific commit I did. So sorry, git commit -m. I'm going to say first commit for public pub, and I'm going to say from code space. That's a really long message, but oh well. Okay, so now what I have is I have this version controlled. It's not in GitHub yet, right? So I'd want to do that part as well. Git push. Then and now, again, you've hopefully learned about this Git workflow. So now if we were to move back over here, refresh this, in our demo, we'd see week 1 and we'd see those 2 files. Okay, so we've done that part of the assignment. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type clear, okay, just to clear my terminal. And so now what I want to do is I actually want to make sure everything works, right? And actually you probably should do that before you commit. Probably I'm not demoing the best practices, but again, this is a shorter version of the other video. So down here in the bottom, we see this go live. So what this is going to do is going to run a server. This is a trip. It's actually running a server in a cloud space. So it's very what I would call meta. So let's go ahead and say run that. And then what happens is it actually opens up a new tab. And in that new tab, there's a W1 which represents that folder. Okay, but if you come back over here, it shows your application is running here. It allows you to make this open in the browser, which was, by the way, what happened here. Notice how, too, it actually does the W1. I think the one difference that I'm thinking of now is that I showed in the other video how you could open just individual folders in the VS Code, but in CodeSpace you can't do that. You just have to click here, which, you know, it's not a big loss because it's not a major thing. But coming back over here, the other thing is there is this option, interestingly enough, to make it public. I haven't played with that option, but here's what my guess is what that does, is I think it would allow you to share it with other people, but that's not the way we're going to do it in this course, so as far as I know, don't worry about that option here, because really all you're doing is this. And let's come back over here to show you. I'm going to click into W1, I should see that week 1, there's the title, there's the text, right? And what I showed you that was probably a really important thing as we move into the course is how to right click, hit inspect, go to the console, and you want to do that to be able to see that hello world here, because where that's coming from is your main JS. I should actually modify this, code space world. And now at this point, because of the autosave, if you come over here, this is actually what we call hot reloaded, which is totally awesome. And it just automatically changes. So often when I'm coding, I will have this open kind of like this, and I'll finish kind of up here, and then I'll have my coding space open kind of here. Right, and so then I can, there it is, right, ooh, where's my, oh, I got it. I just couldn't figure out why. So then this is kind of how my space is sometimes set up when I'm coding. Now, in this case, I would probably minimize that. But again, you get to have your system set up whatever way works for you. But having more screen space is obviously beneficial. Okay, so before I end this, I'm going to go ahead for now, and I'm going to go ahead and drop this, because once you're done, and maybe you're going to stop your code space, one thing you could do, and this might be something that you need to do, because every time you restart your code space, this will stop running. It'll actually come in here. And notice what I just did is it says servers offline. When you stop your code space, that's actually what it's doing, is that piece of it. Okay, now you don't have to version control that. I was just showing you about hot reloading. But if you wanted to start it up again, then you would do that. All right, so make sure you follow the other video as far as what you're posting. You're basically posting your URL for that W right here, right, to show that you did it. Now we're going to learn next week actually how to set up another URL, because you know we don't have enough in this class, for how to render this as a web page to where everyone can see it. So look forward to that next week. I hope this helps you out, and I'll talk to you later. Let me know if you have any questions.